All right, so in the essence of time and being respectful of everyone's time, we're going to get started. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. I'm so excited about this evening. I'm happy that you have decided and make that decision to join this platform and have this conversation because it is going to be a conversation unlike any other. We're going to be talking about the topic of mental health. We know there continues to be stigma against mental health. Although we came a long way, there's still ways to go. And one of the reasons that I follow, and I'm intrigued by this speaker is because, as the Reverend Al Sharpton say, he speaks truth to power and talk about the things that many of us are struggling from, but are afraid to speak up. All right, so you're going to be hearing a whole lot more this evening, and it's the first of many conversations. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Please make sure that your microphones are mute throughout the conversation. If you do have to unmute to share a comment or ask a question, don't forget to mute yourself again. To my students, if you're here, please make sure that your full name is on the Zoom and not a nickname or anything, a full name, so that I can recognize you. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of introduction for those who don't know me. I'll tell you a little bit about my company, and then we will introduce Dr. Bracy and we will get right into the conversation. All right, so this is how the evening is going to flow. We're going to, as I mentioned, get to learn a little bit about Tacom, which is my company taking care of our mental health. We're going to talk about men's mental health and the purpose of this conference, because you might say, why men's mental health? We know mental health is a wide variety of topics. It's just the umbrella, and there's so many things that fall under that umbrella. But tonight, we're focusing on men's mental health. We're going to have the introduction of our guest speaker. We're going to have Q&A, and then we're going to talk about future planning and support. And then towards the end, if we have any providers, I'm going to welcome you to share your information, because this is not just about tonight. This is also about you taking care of your mental health as we live this daily life. All right, so TACUM, which is the abbreviation for taking care of our mental health. So some of the service we do mindful wellness workshops. We do mental health presentations and conferences such as this one. We do assessment, so you can get referred here. We do an assessment and then pretty much match you with a therapist that would suits your need, your specific needs. Because I always say, not because you go and see a therapist mean that therapist is a fit for you. They have to be a fit. They have to be a collaborative relationship. So you get referred to a therapist that suits you and fits your needs. We do writing assistance for college and also high school students. Self-publication, you might have a story to tell. We all have a story to tell. If you need help with telling that story, you can get help here. All right. And then, of course, fundraisers, event, networking, and collaboration. So, why men's mental health? As I stated tonight, we're focusing on men's mental health, but this company's purpose is not only men's mental health. Right? So we know men face unique challenge from society. Society still have that stigma and expectations when it comes to men. So we're here to provide you support. Men also get a lot of societal pressure, right? The cultural norms, the expectation often discourage men from seeking emotional support and resources. So, we're going to talk about the importance of support and focusing on men's mental health and improve their overall well-being. And so this is our mission. Our mission is pretty much awareness and education. So once you get that awareness and that education, you're more inclined to go get the needed support. We're here to help you reduce stigma, right? Our initiative aims to reduce stigma surrounding mental health and pretty much encourage open dialogue. The focus is on men this evening again and spreading awareness, especially in religious institutions. Some of the resources we provide knowledge not only in workshop, but also in books, workbooks, journals. And this is just some of the work that we have. You can visit my website and get more information if needed. And so this is the first of many. So save the date. We're going to have this men's mental health symposium coming in April 24th, 2026 at Medgar College. So save the date, and I will be giving you guys more information as we get closer. And so I'm gonna have my husband, my ride or die, my business partner. He's gonna introduce our speaker, and then we are going to get right into this conversation. So, Matthew, the floor is yours, and you can introduce Dr. Bracy.
Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see so many wonderful faces tonight. I have the pleasure and the honor of introducing our speaker, Dr. Curtis Bracy, is known in the body of Christ as the Kingdom Warfare Preacher. Dr. Bracy hold a bachelor's degree in psychology from King University and a master's in counseling, concentration on marriages, family, and couple counseling from Pillar College. Dr. Bracy holds a Doctor of Christian Counseling and Psychology from Christian Bible Institute and Seminary, successfully defending his dissertation, Suicide Among Kingdom Believers in the Black Church. Dr. Bracy is a member of the American Counseling Association, and he's a member of the American Association of Suicidology. I might have said that wrong. Sorry. National Association of the Social Workers, and the National Association of Black Social Workers, and the American Association of Christian and Social Work. Dr. Bracy also is a licensed therapist in the state of New Jersey, specializing in social esteem, Black trauma, racism, and suicidology. Dr. Bracy is a loving husband and father of two kids, First Lady Sade Bracy, and a proud father of two daughters, Diane and I believe Mahaya. Hope I said it right, sir. You can correct me. Well, but please welcome Dr. Bracy to this Zoom link program.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First and foremost, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Good evening once again. I'm definitely honored to be a part of this conversation on today. I had another engagement going on today, but I gladly said yes to this because an opportunity like this to talk about men comes sometimes once in a lifetime, unfortunately. So we're grateful on today. And thank you, Doc, for just allowing me the space to just talk to some of your students and whoever else may be on the Zoom. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to just give this a, I'm clergy, so we need a topic. So we're gonna give you a topic, just something to call this. I want to deal with this, what men call home. What men call home. All right. Anybody on here are students of social work? Anyone? You could just give me the hand emoji so that I can see before I jump into this. Any students? Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. Students, okay, okay, okay. All right. This is beautiful. I love it. I love it. Now, I'm saying this for a reason. All right. I'm saying this for a reason. So if you're a social work student, you plan on getting your MSW, your LCSW, and even your doctorate, you might want to tune in because I have some information for you, data, research, and other good things. So we're going to begin here. Um, there's a book called Social Work Practice with Fathers. I'm going to say that again. And Matthew, please help me out by putting that in the chat, please. Social Work Practice with Fathers. Social Work Practice with Fathers. This book was very intriguing to me because in the book, licensed social worker and Professor Dr. Brianna Lemon says something in the book that was very astounding. She said that in the social work profession, as it pertains to working with families, there is a bias against fathers. I'm going to say that again. In working with families in social work practice, there's a bias against fathers, which means, number one, that even as a licensed professional, we are not exempt from our own personal bias. All right. We have a name for that. It's called countertransference. All right. And then we have transference. So, what would make a person biased? Well, in the social work profession, 85% of clinicians are women. All right. We have a dearth of men that work in the profession. All right. So, I was a little odd when I was in grad school. I was like the only male like in the class. So you know how that go. So one of the things is because when you're sitting around all day long at a meeting or a multidisciplinary team meeting, or you're gathering up expertise from the team, or you're getting consulting, if most of your colleagues are women, and as educated as you are, if you don't understand the male perspective, then that interferes with how men are brought into the picture. Let's go deeper. So let's say there's a home and the father wants to just have visitation rights, not custody rights, visitation rights. Okay. And mom has full custody. Studies show that the social worker is going to favor the mother and might have a bias towards the dad, especially if he's a non-resident. Everybody with me so far? So this is very telling. This is very important that we deal with this because I couldn't even begin my presentation with what's going on in the community, which brings the person in front of the social worker's desk because I have to correct issues behind the social worker's desk. Okay, so we have to deal with fathers and how clinicians see fathers. Marvin Gaye, the singer back in the 60s and 70s, there was an autobiography written on him prior to him passing away. And in the book, he said something on page 25 that was astounding. He said, if my father had stayed in church, maybe I would have stayed in church. All right. Because the truth of the matter is, we need our fathers. You can be the best mother in the world, and we take our hat off to you. I was fortunate to have a great mother and was raised by my grandmother. So I know what it's like to be around strong women, strong Black women. All right. I wouldn't be standing on the toes I stand on today without them. However, when you don't have a father in your life as a man, you have no guidance. You have no one showing you the ropes. You have no one showing you how to tie a tie. You have no one showing you how to change a flat. You have no one showing you, hey, open the door for that sister when she walks through the door. Guess what? And you have no father to tell you how to deal with your mental health. Let's go to work, people. 1959, there was a movie called A Raisin in the Sun. In that movie, Sidney Poitier is having trouble getting his business started. All right. It's taking you through the mind of a Black man who's trying to succeed in a marginalized world that is set out against him to begin with. And things went wrong. And he says to his mother, he says, I gotta go out. All right. And the mother says, go where, son? He just said, I gotta go out. And she said, it's dangerous. He said, what? And she said, when a man has to leave his home to find peace. Y'all sure you want to have this conversation? So my phone rings when I'm on the clock and when I'm off the clock. All right. If you're a true clinician, you really get no days off. Okay. Because even your family, they want free sessions. And so a lot of the men that I talk to and that I deal with, their frustration is they're trying the best they can to be a good man in a home where they don't feel appreciated. I'm going to repeat that. Their frustration is trying to be a good man in a home they don't feel appreciated. Women, for the most part, not in all cases, but for the most part, you grew up playing with easy bake ovens, Barbie dream house, don't forget Ken. You know, you grew up being prepared. You did family things. You know what I'm saying? Men grew up playing games. This is gonna make sense after a while. We grew up playing with G.I. Joe, Nintendo 64, Miss Pac-Man, if you will. And so as we get older in our relationships, you know what we do? We play games. And women are doing house because that's what you've been taught to do. However, stay with me. This is just a boring part of my speech. However, the problem is that when you get a man who is playing games, you may think he does not love you. And when all actuality, he does love you. But he hasn't been taught how to love. He's been taught how to play. You ever notice when he gets stressed out, he goes and walks outside. He goes to the garage to fix what's not broken, break something that he doesn't need to break, or he'll go grab the joystick. We got a term for that. Sigmund Freud called that regression. Okay, he'll go grab the joystick and start playing games to ameliorate his anxiety. All right. Now, I'm going to pause and say this, ladies. I need you to take your biases off while I'm talking. I need you to focus on what I'm saying and not how you think you would respond when I'm done. Because a lot of times to hear a man's pain, you might have to silence yours for just 2.5 seconds. So, I'm going to tell you a story. Here's book number 2. When you talk to me, I give you resources. Here's book number 2. Licensed clinical social worker Terry M. Williams wrote a book that I believe you should not work in the field until you've read it. It's called Black Pain. And the byline is, it just looks like we're not hurting. Again, the book is called Black Pain. It just looks like we're not hurting. In the book, she tells the story of her husband, Raymond Johnson. All right. And you can get the book at Barnes and Nobles, and you can get it on Amazon. So in the book, she tells a story about her husband, and the chapter of this segment is called I Wish It Would Rain. And in the segment, she says her husband, Raymond Johnson, sent her flowers 10 minutes before he committed suicide. He sent her flowers 10 minutes prior to taking his own life. And she said she didn't understand why her husband, who she saw on the outside looking in, she didn't see any reason for him to do that. And she said, but she thought about it. She retraced her steps and she went back to when she first met him. She said, when I met my husband, she said, within 10 minutes, he could tell me where he would be 10 years from now, and she couldn't even figure out what she was going to eat for dinner that night. She said he was a Yale University graduate, lived in a gated community, loved on his 2 daughters, taught his 1 son how to be a man who valued women, who valued work, and who valued integrity. Took his mother back and forth to the doctor. And she said, suddenly it dawned on me, now I realize what were the signs of his suicidality. She said, because he took care of me, he took care of his daughters, he took care of his mothers, he went to school, he was summa cum laude. But she said he never ran to the beat of his own drum. Check that out. He never ran. You want to know what's really going on with men? We are not running to the beat of our own drum. We are imitating. And if you studied Albert Bandura, you know all about social learning theory. All right. So she said that he never ran to the beat of his own drum. And let me pause and say this. When you dance to other people's rhythm, don't be shocked when they leave you with the blues. I'm going to say that again. When you dance to somebody else's rhythm, Please do not be shocked when they leave you with the blues. She said, with the weight of everything he had to carry, with taking care of things financially, she said his load got heavier every single year, and that was the sign. How can you tell depression, especially in people of color, especially in our Black men? How do you tell the signs? What does it look like? Do you not know that cultural competency is now a thing today? All right. Cultural competency is everything, because you cannot look at depression in Black men the way you would in a European man. All right. And I just want to read to you some ways that we can point out what depression looks like, because it does have a look. All right. Everybody enjoying this so far? It does have a look. Now, depression for men looks like three things. And by the way, depressed men don't look depressed. I'm going to say that again. Depressed men don't look depressed because they have the game face on. And you and I both know that anger is a secondary emotion. It is not a primary emotion. It is covering three things: fear, hurt, or frustration. All right. So Jay-Z said something. He said in one of his songs, I can't see the tears coming down my eyes, so I have to make the song cry. All right. Because men, we don't cry it out. We cuss it out. We sex it out. We drug it out. We work it out, but we don't talk it out. And it's what we don't talk about that's killing us. Dr. Maya Angelou says, and I quote, she says, if you want to find an unhappy person, find someone with an untold story inside of them. And all the untold stories that men carry. So we got to see, what do men call home? So number one, depression in men looks like addiction. That's number one if you're taking notes. Depression in men looks like addiction. If you talk to most men who dibbled and dabbled in addiction and ask them, have they seen the movie Scarface? They will quote every scene verbatim to you, word for word. Because we tend to idolize certain people when we think this is all we'll ever be. Remember, I cannot talk about men and not talk about imitation, because men don't act, men just follow what they see. All right, so number one is addiction. All right. I tell my clients, my male clients, every Friday at my job, 9 a.m. to 10:15, I do a men's group. And I tell my men, even my young men, I say to them, you know, drugs is just a cool way to die. It's a cool way to die, but it's affecting your lungs. It's affecting your health. It's affecting how you deal with the day-to-day. So our men need a place to call home. Addiction sometimes is what they numb themselves with before they go home. You remember Robin Williams? He said, I used to think the most saddest thing in the world was to be alone. He said, no. He said, the most saddest thing is to end up with people who make you feel alone. Our men feel alone right in America. Forget the neighborhood. Forget the block, forget the city, forget the boardroom, forget the barbershop, forget LA Fitness, forget Planet Fitness. They feel alone right in the UA. And this is before Trump. This is before Richard Pryor. And by the way, speaking of Richard Pryor, he said in 1979, I got so depressed, I set myself on fire. We're talking about men's mental health here. What would make a comedian who could laugh you out of your seat, what would make him set himself on fire? Because Richard Pryor was born not in a hospital, but in a brothel. So all he saw was sex in and out all day long. And so as he got older, he beat his wives. He's mistreated them. He demeaned them, because guess what? In all my years of being a therapist and being clergy, I've never seen a man mistreat a woman and love himself simultaneously. Sometimes, ladies, how he's treating you reveals how he feels about himself. You could post that on Facebook and give me credit. It's okay. So, number two, sex. Trust me, when I say this. Believe me when I say this. I know there are women who are angry at that man for cheating, angry at him for leaving, angry at him for talking to the girl next door. But just because he was sleeping around and cheating doesn't mean he was happy. Sex is not always a sign a man is happy. Sometimes it's a sign we're depressed. Sometimes it's a sign we're depressed. Once again, I'm going to reiterate this throughout my presentation because depressed men don't look depressed because we're depressed with the game face on, which leads me to number 3, violence. Violence. What does depression look like in men? Violence. What makes a 10-year-old shoot a 9-year-old on the corner, and when you ask him why did he do it, he said, because he dissed me or he stepped on my sneakers. The real question is not aren't you afraid to go to jail? That's not the question. The real question is, why don't you have any hope? When an angry man is still in the fight because his emotions are involved, his thoughts are involved, even if he's thinking irrationally, he's still in the ring. But when a man goes numb, that's when we have a problem. When a man stops talking, that's when we have a problem. And you know how many men, how many husbands come to my office and tell me, she says to me, honey, talk to me. You can tell me anything. And he starts to talk to tell her something. And before he can finish the sentence, he gets cut off and then he shuts down. I hope this is giving us some insight into what men deal with. So I'm going to give you 7 things that leads to wellness in the minds, the lives, the homes of our men. All right? 7 things that I think are worth jotting down that I believe will help you. Remember, even in the mental health profession, our men are misrepresented. Going back to Robin Williams, if you saw the movie Miss Doubtfire, he went through so much trouble just to see his kids that he ended up dressing like a maid just so that he could see his own children. Number 1, if a man is going to get his mental health in check, it begins with honesty. It begins with honesty. A man cannot obtain mental wellness if he's lying to himself. But here's the problem. What happens when he grew up around liars? What happens? All right. Sometimes it's not that he didn't have a father. Sometimes it's the lies his mother told him about his own father. Honesty. Have we made it safe for men to be honest? Now, let me test your social work knowledge. You can unmute yourself and help me answer this one. There is an acronym in social work called PI. Can anyone tell me what PI stands for?
Person and environment.
Oh, we got some students on here tonight. Person and environment. That means you cannot understand an individual without understanding the environment they came from. Let me give you an example. Snoop says in the book Black Pain that I recommended to you, he said that the first time he ever heard a woman was called a woman was by the time he met his wife. He said because where he grew up, women were called bees and hoes and sluts. He said so he thought that was normal. Many times we're castigating our men because what they think, what we call abnormal, to them, it's normal. If you grew up in an environment where there was yelling and screaming and broken glass at 3 a.m. and you meet somebody who's quiet and nice and willing to talk it out, sometimes you'll self-sabotage it because it's not the norm and you'll act up on purpose just to feel at home. When many of our men leave the judicial system, and they're free, they're out of jail, but jail hasn't gotten out of them, they'll act up on purpose just to get put back in jail because they feel more safe behind bars looking over their shoulder every day than they do at home. It's not enough for a man to go to the pharmaceutical store and get his prescription if he can't go home. It's not enough for a man. Do you not know when a man has trouble at home, he'll work overtime? He'll find extra time to stay at work. He'll sit in the car for 40 minutes because he knows when he gets home, he has to work. He has to go to job number 2. When I was a little kid and we showed off, our mother would say the famous line, "Wait till your father gets home." Anybody remember that? Wait, I know I sound old. Wait till your father gets home. Here's the problem. Mom, I get it. But what if dad is depressed by the time he got home? What if he's drained by the time he got home? That man probably just wanted to sit on the couch and just sit in his thoughts for a minute. Because if you wanted to find a depressed man, find a man who's always on the go, never saying no, there for everybody. Take his mama to the doctor, take his kids to the game, taking care of his wife, and not taking care of himself. Because men, we don't make time for ourselves. Let's be honest. Point number 1 is honesty. We don't make time for we get a pain in our spine, we just take Tylenol and go to sleep. We got a headache, we just think it's a regular migraine, we go to bed. You 45 and won't get a physical yet. All right. And by the time we go to the doctor, it's too late because we spent so many years neglecting ourselves without being honest with ourselves. And the greatest self-neglect is dishonesty. I'm going to say that again. The greatest self-neglect is dishonesty. So our men have to be honest. But going back to person and environment, if you're hanging out with your boys all day, and y'all are not talking about real issues. You're talking about the girl you met, the rims on the car, the tinted windows, but nobody's talking about prostate getting checked. Nobody's talking about the way we're eating. You had 2 boxes of pizza for lunch, a hamburger for dinner, and a hot dog for breakfast, and a Mountain Dew to wash it down. And if we're not talking about our health, if we're not talking about what really matters, then we're not being honest with ourselves. So our environment says a lot as men. I say this all the time when I travel. Men who cheat don't hang with men who faithful. There's a different conversation. There's a different dialogue. There's a different going back and forth. A faithful man who hears you cheating is going to like, bro, what you doing? You a father. You somebody's husband. What if you cat something? What if you give us something? He's going to hold him accountable. Honesty. Honesty. And as if you're raising a son, the most important thing you could do with your son's mental health is be honest with him. All right? Be honest with him about the fact that his father hasn't come around, not because he doesn't love his son, but because me and dad don't get along, and sometimes I don't like your father. Because sometimes we're disciplining our children for acting like us. You'll catch that later. Number 2, men suffer with their mental wellness because they're always being the hero. Point number 2 is the hero. Going back to Raymond Johnson in the book, he committed suicide because he didn't know how to take the cape off. A man needs an environment where he doesn't have to be Superman all day long. A man needs to be around people who don't want anything from him, but they want to see what they can do for him. This is very important. Oprah said it this way: everybody wants to ride in the limousine with you, but you want somebody that'll catch the bus with you when the limo breaks down. So, the hero, all right? Men have been defined by society by what we do. It's been said if you ask a woman who she is, she might tell you how she feels. But if you ask a man who he is, he'll tell you what he owns, what he drives, and what he does for a living. I'm going to say that again. It's been said if you ask a woman who she is, she might tell you how she feels. If you ask a man who he is, he'll tell you what he owns, what he drives, and what he does for a living. And so I work in the substance abuse field, and when my men come in and they're frustrated, angry, and depressed, it's about what they own that's not working, what they drive, or what they do for a living or no longer can do. So, the hero. The H in husband does not stand for hero. Are y'all listening? The H in father does not stand for hero. I have to be able to be around people who see me at my worst and still respect my masculinity. And speaking of masculinity, there is a term that is causing a lot of psychological pain in our men. We've coined it toxic masculinity. All right. And which means that the societal norms that we've imposed on men, you're not a man if you don't pay bills. And you're not a man if you don't do this. And you're not a man if you don't do that. Whatever happened to you deserve respect because you're a human being? Wait a minute. We got six values in social work, right? And one of them is the dignity, and come on, fill in that blank. Dignity and what of a person?
And worth of a person.
And worth. I'm going to test your knowledge all night. Just get ready. The dignity and worth of a person. My dignity and worth cannot be predicated on what I drive, on what I do. Or, do you not know most men who commit suicide, they commit it after retirement? Or during a layoff, or when the company downsizes, or when they get let go of? Do you know how many men have committed suicide the day they lost their job because they were too afraid to go home and say, honey, I can't get you that dress this weekend. I forgot who wrote the song, but it was a song called Who Can I Run To? Escape. Who can I run to? So we're talking about, where do men go for home? You'll be amazed how many men have houses but not homes. And yes, there's a difference between a house and a home. Okay? If that man is drinking too much beer in that house, it's not a home. If that man is sleeping all day in that house, it's not a home. If that man is in a room and that room is dark, it's not home. If that man is silent, it's not home. I hope this is helping us. Number 3, home. Home. Ladies, you will look for the most beautiful house so that your husband can get it for you. Or you may be that independent woman on the Zoom that, nah, Bracy, I'm with you, but let me clarify, buddy, I can get it for myself. No argument from me. My job is to do my speech and go back to my wife's. But even though you like the house, you decorate the house, you like to go on vacation, you like to go away, you like to plan things, you know, men would rather stay in the home that they purchase because it's their domain, it's their castle. You understand? And guess what's not good for a man's mental health? You might not like this one. What's not good for a man's mental health is when you make him sleep on the couch in his own house. Oh, man, I hope y'all like me when this is over. Security, when he has to sleep on the couch in his own house that he pays rent in, you may not like him, but give him one of those social work values, the dignity and worth of a person. I'm almost done. You won't have to deal with me all night. Home. Home. Oh, man, as hard as I work all day, the favorite part of my day is driving home to my wife and my kids because she wants to see me. How do I know? Because she told me she missed me throughout the day. And I told her I missed her throughout the day. And so by the time we get home, oh, we can't wait to see each other. Because how you start that morning determines how that man spends that evening. Am I helping y'all? I'm just a bald-head man with a degree, that's all. Okay. So, home, when the home is not right for that man, it leads me to number 4, health crisis. We got honesty, hero, home, health. I'm getting a lot of phone calls about the health of our men. Now, in ecology and epigenetics, there is something called homeostasis. All right. Homeostasis is basically talking about how you deal with things, how stable you are, the capacity you have to handle a problem. All right. But once you handle the problem, and everything dies down, you're supposed to go from homeostasis, allostasis, back to homeostasis. When I say homeostasis, I'm talking about stability. Stay with me. This is going to make sense. But how can a mentally unstable man continue to provide stability? So when everything is over, when the job crisis is over and the wife goes to bed and the kids are tucked in and his mom is taken care of, and then he has to watch the news and see police brutality and George Floyd and Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin, he's driving down the street and he sees sirens and his license and registration is good. He has no traffic tickets, but he's scared to death. His heart is about to jump out of his chest, not because he's wrong, but because he's black. That's not good for his health. Jesse Jackson said, and I quote, "Poverty is even bad for your health." So when the crisis is over and I don't go back to homeostasis or allostasis, I become what we call allostatic. Allostatic means that my health is being infiltrated due to the environment that I'm around. Our health is everything. A man's health is everything. Do you know what telling that man, "I'm proud of you," even when you're mad at him, can do for him? Do you know what it's like to say, "Dad, I love you and I see you're doing the best you can, and any way I can support you, let me know"? But the problem is no. He don't need to know all that. My grandfather didn't get all that. My great-grandfather didn't go through all that. They just did it. And that's why they died at 60. That's why they died at 50. Because they made it look so good while they were feeling so bad. I wrote a book called Suicide Among Kingdom Believers in the Black Church. Suicide Among Kingdom Believers in the Black Church. And I dedicated a whole chapter to our men. It's called Black Men on Suicide Watch. I'm going to read to you a segment in the book about what a daughter said about her father who had committed suicide. All right. A daughter whose father committed suicide and what she had to say about it. She said in 2002, Dad was one of 31 people who completed suicide in the District of Columbia, South Carolina. That year, he hung himself with an extension cord at the age of 57. I was 2 months shy of 30. Thankfully, I did not find him. He was burdened by many things, past and present, in his last year of life. Listen closely to what I'm about to read. He ended up abandoning routine activities and withdrawing from regular contact with me and my older brother. He surrounded himself with music and books that reinforced his negative feelings, especially those centering on the plight of Black men. Watch this. He died believing that he wouldn't achieve the life he wanted. He died believing that he would not achieve the life he wanted. Do you know how many men right now, they wear expensive clothes, they drive nice cars, only because they think the real life they want, they won't get? They want to be an attorney, but don't think they can pass the LSAT. They want to be an MD, but don't think they can get into med school. They want to get their children out the ghetto, but gentrification issues keeps them in. Are y'all listening to this? They want more for their life, but keep getting denied housing because of the color of their skin. It is interesting. No wonder Marvin Gaye said it makes me want to holler and throw up both my hands. A father whose son commits suicide. A father whose son committed suicide. Listen to what the father says. I open up chapter 7 with this quote. A father's son commits suicide. This is the father's son commentary. And I quote, I saw my son's depression, but I didn't understand depression. I saw he was down. Watch this. But I just thought he was moody. Did y'all catch that? I saw he was down, but I thought he was moody. How many times in your house you were sad and they said, what you got an attitude for? You can't smile? If you smile, the whole world will smile back at you. Get a grip. Like, stop being all sad all the time. Why are you so mopey? You should be happy. You got a family that love you. It's nothing as worse as grieving around people who don't understand. They think because you got shelter, food, and clothing that you're happy. And so he misunderstood his son's pain. There's a chapter in Black Pain called, Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. So our health, all right, our health, the health of our men in keeping silent causes hypertension, causes type 2 diabetes, causes cardiovascular issues, causes migraines, all right? And they go to the doctor and the doctor can't find the reason for the root cause because you have to deal with psychological problems psychologically. Man went to the doctor and he was always fatigued. Didn't know why. He would drink coffee throughout the day, go to bed on time, went to bed, slept 8 hours, was very athletic, very energetic, stayed in the gym, and the blood test came back good. Because you know why? Blood tests don't show fatherlessness. Blood tests don't show hopelessness. Blood tests don't show low self-worth. Next point. Homies. A man's homies. It's been said, who you hang with and what you read will determine where you'll be 5 years from now. All right? A man's friendships are valuable. All right? You know how it is, ladies, when a man say he going out to hang out with the guys and you want him to stay home? That could be his only oasis for the week before he goes back to work. Because that's the place where he's not dad, he's not husband, he's just one of the guys. So a man is only as healthy as the men he calls friend. All right. So our men need not just homies. We might need a supportive network. All right. We might need a therapist. All right. There's a chapter in my book called How Long Can We Be Silent? And I talk about the suicide. I call it the suicide of privacy. You got to get the book to see what I'm talking about. But in the book, I deal with the fact that a lot of our men go through public consequences over their private pain. All right. And the fact of the matter is, we're not going to therapy because of the fears we had about therapy. Because, you know, mama said, what goes on in this house stays in this house. All right. That's number one. Number two, we heard about the Tuskegee experiment. All right. Number three, we feel like, oh, that's not for me. I don't need that. I'm not going to waste my $300 on a therapist. I'll just get $30 worth of beer. Home remedies are not remedies for men. So our homies. Now, here's the thing. If you want to get a man in therapy, I highlighted this to make sure I didn't forget this. If you want to get a man in therapy, you don't get him in therapy by saying, you need to go to therapy. You done messed up. You just messed up right there. Just your tone was off. It's not, see, here's the thing. And I say this all the time. When you do an intervention with your family, timing is important. Tone is important. All right? Those two things are very vital. Sometimes you got to say, hey, do you want me to go with you on your first appointment? I don't have to go in the room. I can just go there to sit outside and be a support system for you. Once again, Marvin Gaye says on page 25 of his autobiography, if my father would have stayed in church, I would. All right, hear me real good. That man is coming to therapy, but he doesn't know how to open up. He doesn't know how to talk. I had one guy said to me, one lady said to me, I'm trying to get my husband to talk to me. He won't talk to me. And as we continued the family counseling, come to find out his mother always told him, if you keep crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. So mama said, don't cry. Wife upset because he won't be emotional. And now he don't know what to do. It's hard trying to please your mama and your wife. Next point, holistic approaches. Holistic approaches. All right. Now I'm going to pause and say this. I'm on the doctoral level of psychology, but I'm going back to school for my MSW. I'm going back to school for my LCSW. I'm going back to school for my PhD in social work. Why? You finished with school. Bracy, be happy. Hear me real good. When I understood, now listen, y'all social workers and future social workers, listen to the psychology major talk to you. You're in the right field. Hear me real good. You're in the right. If I had to do it all over again, I'll pick social work. Let me tell you why. Because you cannot help a man if you don't talk to his mama, if you don't talk to his wife, if you don't talk to his boys. Because it's a system. It's a system that's against him. It's a system in the ghetto. It's a system at the barbershop. In his neighborhood, he could find a liquor store, but he can't find a hospital. In his neighborhood, he could find a park. But in his neighborhood, he can't find a museum. And if he catches a heart attack, he got to catch 2 or 3 buses if the paramedics don't get here in time just to get him to a nice, rich, white hospital. You sure y'all want me to keep going? You sure you want me to keep going? I'm almost done. Holistic approaches. Holistic approaches. We got to get him to eat right. We got to get him to take care of himself. We got to help him spiritually. Now, if you are a person of faith and you're trying to, let's say, get your husband to go to church, telling him he needs to go to church may keep him away from it. All right. The reason why a lot of men, especially our black men, don't want to go to church because they feel like churches cater more to the women and put down the men. So we have to have friendly environments. Person and environment. We have to have friendly environments that support our men. Holistic approaches. All right. Not mental health is not just about your mind. It's also about your physiology. Mental health is not just about your mind, it's about your diet. Mental health is not just about your mind, it's about that person you keep going back to. Because a lot of men, you thought I was going to touch on this, a lot of men have trouble leaving their exes alone. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. There's an old saying in relationship counseling. There's an old saying. Men will take an ex seriously and play games with the new girl. And a woman will play games with the ex and take the new man seriously. Men were never taught she will leave, and women were taught you can change him. Y'all listening? So the fact of the matter is that men don't know how to let go. Are you shocked? Are you shocked that I just said that? You thought because he's the quickest to leave that he let it go? No. That's why we come back crying. We come back telling you, if you don't come back to me, I'm going to commit suicide. We come back to you telling you, I changed my life. I found Jesus. I'm going to church now. Yeah, because we don't know how to let go because it's an insult to the ego. I tell my men all the time, men, we have to teach our men there's a difference between ego and confidence. Ego has caused more heart attacks to our men than their diet. You know how many men have talked themselves into depression by saying, I'm good? Last point, and I'm finished. hope. When all else fails, there's a passage in Proverbs 13 and 12 that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. All right. To help a man, you have to look at what does he put the most hope in. All right. It's been said if you give a rich person money, they'll invest it. If you give a middle class person money, they'll pay off all their bills. If you give a poor person money, they'll spend it. You know why? There's a desperate feeling of never having this chance again, and you go after the moment's gratification rather than the long-term plan. Because the only hope you think you have is to go down to Macy's or go online on Amazon and have a shopping spree so you can look the part and not be the part. And many of our men are looking well while dying sick. So, this concludes my presentation. I hope you all got something out of it. Are there any questions?
First and foremost, my name is Angelina. I'm one of the students in the BSW program. I'm also doing my concentration in substance abuse. So I give you a lot of props and respect for being in the field because I work with men who are going through substance and in recovery, and it's a tough road. I have to tell you, sir, you have been truly inspirational and amazing. I literally just text my boyfriend like we need to have a talk when you come home. And it's just
Wow.
to remind him.
Wow.
We tell each other that we're proud of each other, but to have a conversation when he gets home because these H's, these building blocks to build our men up, especially men of color that have been taken down all these years, it's time to build them back up. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. I truly do appreciate the information that you dropped today. It was just amazing. Amazing, amazing. I been popping in and out because my app was on the fritz on my phone, but thank you so much for sharing this information. You have just been like eye-opening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely. Cornelius, go ahead. Cornelius, you have your hand up. You can go ahead. Unmute and go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I don't even know where to start because I am guilty 100%. I will tell you, I am sitting in the park right here by City Hall in Manhattan. I took a day to just come and relax while I'm doing the sessions. And I found eye water at my eye because I'm guilty of most of what you spoke about, Mr. Curtis. I found myself last week in the hospital for a liver problem, which I know the main reason why I have the problem was mainly because of stress, mainly because of the pressure I have dealing with my everyday issues. So it's crazy that I'm sitting in this, listening to you tell me exactly what I'm going through right here at this present moment. We are definitely under attack, and we are definitely going through one of the hardest times of our life. But it's good that we still have people who are fighting, people who are willing to go out, people to even speak on matters such as this, so we can even do an introspection as to what's going on in our life. Because most of what you said, when you said we try to find things to fill that gap, because the truth is, some of the time, the people we work hard for, they are not the ones who are telling us, hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Most times we're searching for it and we never find it. And because we never find it, we try to fill that gap somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I applaud you, sir. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. That's a Bracy. I don't even know where to start. I mean, this was so amazing. This was phenomenal.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Drop
Just
it.
drop the mic. I mean, wow. Wow, definitely. I mean, I was here taking notes. I got so much takeaways from this, and I know everyone here got a lot of takeaways. So this was just amazing. Really and truly it was. So anyone you have questions, go ahead.
All right. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mark McCallman. I have a situation currently. my nephew, who's 18 years of age, a week ago, he started, behaving, a little like weird. He started saying things like he's a chosen one and where's his disciples and stuff like that. And his parents. Right now, he lives with my brother, who's his father, and his stepmother. But he started like acting out, and as a result of that, they took him to this rehab center in New Jersey, and he's currently there right now. The thing is, he has been quiet for a while, like, and some of the things that you said just speak right into what we observe with him. So he's been quiet for a while, not talking a lot and things like that. And but now when he's in there now, they were able to go through his phone. And in going through his phone, they realized that he's been smoking marijuana and other drugs. He met somebody on the internet, and the person has been supplying him with these drugs and stuff for like over a year now. And his parents never really knew that. Like, they would see him just quiet. And if they ask him, he said, no, everything is all right and stuff. Until he started acting out, you know, um, and then he ended up in this rehab center. So my point is that I heard you when you said men suffer in silence and things like that, and one of the first things they do, they go to drugs and things like that, and that's I see with my nephew. My question is that they're supposed to discharge him tomorrow, and I want to know some advice for next steps for him, because he may not be fully back to himself, even though they detox him and stuff like that. So I want to know what is your advice for an 18-year-old who's going through this situation.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. If there is a consent form sign for you, or release sign for you to speak to the therapist to find out what the discharge plan is, that would be the next point of order on your end. On his end, I would say definitely a follow up with therapy, but I don't know all the intricate details. But I would say talk to the primary therapist, but he would have to sign a release of information for you to speak to the therapist if he has not done so already.
Yeah, that's a problem. You see, he's 18 years old, so he's an adult, and unless he signs and gives permission, they don't even want us to divulge any information to us. And so far he's not been doing that, and so you know, we want to know some like if he doesn't give us permission to talk to the therapist and things like that. What would you suggest that we do going forward?
One of the best things you could do right now is be as supportive as you can. Don't try to be forceful. Don't try to solve the problem for him, because that can agitate the situation and make it worse. And sometimes, as families, we love our family members. We want what's best for them. But sometimes, if we're not careful, we can be enablers.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
No problem.
definitely. Definitely. Go ahead with the questions.
I'm sorry. Hello, hi. My name is Kenna Meste. I'm a DSW student at Medgar. I just wanted to say, like, this was very insightful. I think Angie has said it, and it touched me so much because yesterday I was speaking to my boyfriend, and I'm like going off at the mouth about things that I'm going through, and he was just being silent. So I go to him that I don't feel like you're supporting me because I'm trying to tell you something or whatever. And out of his mouth, he just said, "Do you think my mental health is being supported?" And everything you said just now made me take like accountability of my bias as far as like how the way I communicate. Sometimes men are like, they go through so much silent battles that sometimes as women, we just don't see it. Well, we don't see it. And then on top of that, we always want to be catered to, but some of us never give the catering that they may need. So what you just spoke about today was just amazing. It was amazing. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I see a lot of invites to that Medgar Evers, Dr. Bracy.
Yeah, I think I need to come to that.
I see a lot of invites in the chat, so we can talk about that.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, definitely. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Come on, don't be shy. And if we have some providers on, if you want to take 2 minutes and just share your information, go ahead. Shireen, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bracy. This was amazing and very insightful. Do you have any suggestions of how to support our men more, especially for those who shut down in situations or do not communicate like their feelings? How best can we support them?
Yes, I do. 3 things. Number 1, listen. Listen, listen, listen. Men will talk if you listen. The myth that men don't talk is a myth. We talk at the barbershop. We talk on the golf course. We talk at Checkers getting a burger. We talk at work. We just don't talk to you. So the fact of the matter is, number 1, you have to listen. Number 2, be approachable. Be approachable. All right, be approachable. And an approach is more than your presence, it's how you respond to us. I heard Steve Harvey say one day, he said, men are not afraid of you, we're just afraid of your reaction. That couldn't be no further from the truth. So you have to look at how you react to us. Don't tell us we can talk to you and we start talking and it turns into an argument. Because we're not going to try to talk to you no more. Like, it's over. It's a wrap. It's a doobie. It's the Reynolds wrap. It's not happening ever again. Number 3, I would always say, just let him know I'm here if you need me. And then here's the hard part. Live like you're here if you need him. If you tell him you're here, but all day long he see you going off, just going off, having no peace, no patience, he's not going to want to come to you because you're a raging volcano. And people run from volcanoes. They don't walk into them.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Alicia, you had a comment?
Yes. So what I'm getting out of that is that majority of men don't accept the fact there is mental health. Maybe because they feel like they're macho, that they don't accept the fact that, there's mental health that they are going through. And just to piggyback on what the lady said a while ago, is that how do we go to support them? Because a lot of the men, you will say, okay, honey, can we talk? No man, everything is good, everything is good. Instead of them coming out and, allow you to sit with them and talk things through, but they always throw you off and say, okay, no man, everything is good, everything is good. So is there a way that we have to start monitoring them and find out, how to bring that thing out of them? That's one I got from that. And 2 is that no matter what, we have to still try and support them as much as we can, because the little things we do can trigger more things. Like you said, okay, you're not sleeping on the bed tonight, go sleep on the couch. And not knowing that these little things are triggering more than what it is beyond what they're going through. We are not acknowledging that, okay, for example, like, that's my last one. So, how do we say that when we get in the 50s, we start losing, we get heat, we get hot
flashes,
right? We're going through menopause. There you go, menopause. It's just lately that I got to find out men go through menopause. Men go through menopause as well. It never came to me that, okay, women go through menopause, men go through, we're all human beings. But we need a lot of pointers at that. So that's just my comments on there.
So just to reply back to you, it goes back to the three things I mentioned earlier: listening, being approachable, tell them you hear, and live like you hear. Number three is where I have to probably go into greater detail. I'll say this: one of the best things a woman can do for a man is heal herself first. That's very important. We have a lot of unhealed women telling men they're not healed.
True.
Did y'all hear that? Did everybody hear that? Did everybody hear that? We have a lot of unhealed women telling men they're not healed. That's the problem. Number two, also, which is very important, I think, when it comes to helping our men, is that we watch how you handle situations. We watch how you yelled at your brother last week for not paying you back. We watch how you responded to the bill collector. So we watch your responses because they play a big role in what we tell you. But more importantly, if we tell you we don't want to talk right now, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Because how you respond to that, all right? How you respond to that, because men, how do I say this nicely? Men are very fragile. Men are very fragile, and sometimes all we need to know is you're there when we need you. It's like having a cup of cold water by your bedstand at night. You may put it by your bedstand and never drink it. Next morning, the cup is still full, but it was the comfort of knowing that if you needed it, it was there. So, and sometimes you don't have to talk to us. Sometimes how you're treating us is good enough. Let me prove that. My grandmother passed away in 2014. And my girlfriend at the time, she's not a talker. She doesn't know what to say to you. She really doesn't know. She did not know how to be emotionally there for you. The only thing she knew how to do is be present. And because I already knew that about her, her presence was all I needed. So after the funeral, we sat in the car for at least 5 hours straight. Listen to this. No talking. 5 hours straight. I was looking in the sky. She was watching me look in the sky for 5 hours straight. We didn't talk, but her presence was therapeutic. But her presence was not therapy. Did y'all catch that? Ladies, your presence can be therapeutic, but sometimes your mouth is not therapy.
Ouch.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. You asked the question, I answered it.
Church say amen.
Ooh, my.
Wow.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up.
Actually,
Any more? Go ahead.
Wow.
Any feedback, questions, concerns?
I have one question. So if somebody wanted to refer a client or a potential client to you, how would they go about doing that?
They would just reach out to me on Psychology Today, and then I would email the person back, set up a consultation for 15 minutes, and we go from there. Psychology Today.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, that was a very good event. This was a very good virtual event. I realized something. As a man, I must stay strong because I'm trying to prepare myself to be a man of God, but also a man for my family.
Let me say this. Strong men have weak moments. It doesn't make us weak men. Don't let this shirt and tie fool you. Strong men have weak moments. It doesn't make us weak men. And you talk about a man of God. You know how many men of God had weak moments? Paul, Job, Elijah, all these great men of God had weak moments. And so it's nothing wrong with being strong. But my strength doesn't go away because I'm having a weak moment. I want you to never forget what I just said.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Hope.
Hello, I'm a BSW student at Megger. My name is
Awesome.
Hope. I love everything that she said. I was like, oh, he is going in, but I love it. And as a woman, I could only respect it. Um, but I wanted to know the pressure that men feel, you know, black men feel, the fact that they gotta do everything, feel the pressure. I don't understand, like, when did they start in the black community? Suicide is very taboo. So hearing about the fact that these brothers are committing suicide is for me both concerning and just, surprise.
Mhm. Well,
Um, Go ahead.
no, go ahead. You can finish.
Surprising. So my thought is what are we doing to prevent it from the next generation? I mean, it's going to happen. Now I know it happens in the black community. It happens among black men, and my shock is wearing off now. But what are we doing? What can we do as social workers to see the signs of someone who feels that way, suicidation or something like that? How could we help prevent that?
Well, as social workers, you have to go by the code of ethics in the NASW. You have to also abide by your cultural competencies when it comes to dealing with men of color. Thirdly, I would also say that you have to advocate. What drove me to the field of psychology, by the way, was suicidality in men. That's what drove me to the field because I grew up in a church where we didn't discuss it. And I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about it, and we've had people to commit suicide. We just didn't talk about it. And the only time it got addressed, because I talk about this in my book, the only time it got addressed in church was when you said the person who committed suicide was going to hell. That's far as they went with it, and they spent so much time on the afterlife of the person who completed suicide that they forgot to help the living person who was suicidal. So I think that what we have to do is we have to create safe spaces. But let me tell you something that's very important to helping men. You want to help a man, you got to talk to who he talks to. And that's the best thing I'm going to say this afternoon. You got to talk to who he talks to. That's the best way to get through to him. If you know who his friend is and you build a rapport with them, then you can see, okay, what makes this person tick? Because let me tell you, even a quiet man has somebody they talk to. My uncle, who's still alive, I was his favorite nephew. And he didn't like adults, but he loved kids. All right, because kids were innocent. They won't hurt you. They won't betray you. He had been betrayed, and he didn't trust people a lot. But he would talk to me. And one day he said, "Death looks good right about now." And I was 11. I was 11, and he said, "Death looks good right about now." And that didn't sound right to me, but I didn't think nothing of it. But one day I was just talking to my aunt, who was his wife. I said, "Unc said death looks good right about now." And I said, "What was he talking about?" And she said, "Don't worry about that." That's how families sometimes dealt with it. They hushed it instead of saying, what can we do to help? So to answer your question, as a BSW, you go by your NASW code of ethics. You advocate, you push for it. I advocated for it so much on social media that's how I met the good doctor here. All right. So I write books about it. I do podcasts about it. As a woman, as a person, if you have someone in your life who's struggling mentally, remember those three things I said: listen, be approachable, and let him know I'm there if you need me. It could be boyfriend, dad, uncle, cousin, brother. That's how you deal with men. Men are simple. We're simple creatures. All right. So noticing our suicidality, believe it or not, in some cases, it's not hard. It's just that sometimes women either see what they want to see, as Mary J. Blige said, or you think you can fix them on your own. And I tell women, a man does not need you to fix him. He just needs you to love him while he fixes himself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
hi.
you so much, Dr.
I just
Bracy.
have one more thing to say. My name is Khadijah. I'm a BSW from Medgar Evers. I just want to say, yes, we definitely have to watch how we speak to men. They do have feelings, and just making sure that we pay attention to how they're feeling. We don't know what they're going through internally and just outside of work. They could be stressed out, and it's like when we're in a relationship, we just focus on us. but we need to just make sure we're paying attention to their feelings.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Good night, everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We want to thank Dr. Curtis Bracy for that mic drop presentation. There's so many things I want to go back and listen to this because it's like, wow. You guys, you can look forward to be able to listen to this message and share it with others. Dr. Sampson will be able to put it on YouTube. So look out for it being on YouTube, and you can share it with your friends, whether your spouse, your guy friends, or whomever you feel needs to hear this message. Take care of our mental health here to bring awareness, here to bring healing and hope to those who are hurting mentally. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope that you enjoy your weekend. And thank you, Dr. Bracy, again. This will be the
No
first of
problem.
many, and we look forward to hearing from you and all the great work that you're doing. Everyone have a good night, and God bless you all.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good
Thank you.
night,
Have a
everyone.
good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Thank you. Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.